morning, Toastmasters. Can you hear me? All right? Okay, and I wanted to welcome our distinguished guests. Good day. I love Australia. So how many of you here have dogs? Raise your hands. Okay, well, I happen to be a boxer girl myself, and I've had 7 boxers over the years. And the reason I bring this up is because I was going to get a new boxer about 15 years ago, inaugural event, and I was talking to Boxer Rescue, Marisa, and she said, well, go see this boxer. It's a little old, but go see it. And I took my son, who was 7 years old then, and we got to this house, and this boxer was not like a boxer. It was fat. It was blind in one eye. You know, I envisioned a boxer being slim and muscular with the pointy ears, and this dog was not like that. And my son said to me, Mom, you're not going to get her just because she's fat, are you? And so it goes. We took her home, and her name was Roxy. So what I'm going to ask you today, are you getting the results that you want in life? Results are the name of the game. Think of somebody that wants to go on a diet and wants to lose 20 pounds, and they see that chocolate cake, and they know it's not going to give them the results that they want, but they go ahead and do it anyway. And somebody says, well, why did you do that? Well, I don't know. So the idea that I'm going to impart to you today is the knowing-doing gap. And I'm sure you're aware of it, of the knowing-doing gap, but it's kind of like a thief in the night. You know, it just goes on passing by. And I remember when I was 3 years old, let's take, for example, when I was 3 years old, I got on the high diving board and I went down. And my parents said, Meredith, why did you do that? And I said, well, I don't know. I didn't know. And then when I got into grade school and I was misbehaving, you know, the teacher would say, Meredith, why did you do that? And I'd say, well, I don't know. And then when I got to be a teenager and somebody said, well, let's do pot or marijuana, I say, well, yeah, let's do that. And my parents would say, well, why did you do that? And I said, I don't know. I was doing things that I didn't know why I was doing them, but I was doing them anyway. So what I'm going to tell you today about, we're going to tell you the difference between the gap between what we know and what we do. And there's a huge gap. So there's 2 parts to the mind. The conscious mind, which is where we gather information. We go to school, we gather information. We're taught to repeat, recite, and pretty much to regurgitate, right? And so we gather information, But that's not really the part of the mind that executes the behavior. The part that executes the behavior is the subconscious mind. And there were 2 law professors that got tired of studying the rats and things, and so they decided to study human behavior. And one of them was named John Braun. And he said that we have guidance systems that really direct most of the things in our lives. And sometimes they're in line with with our intentions, and sometimes they are not. And then one of his cohorts said that 95% of those guidance systems are controlling our everyday life. So the conscious mind is 5%, the subconscious mind is 95%. So if you're going to have a war of 5%, 95%, who's going to win? The 95%, right? So all these paradigms are habits that we've collected, and we've genetically gotten them. As soon as we were babies, we were programmed. So there's an enormous difference between what we know and what we do. Now, I was always late. I could never be anywhere on time, right? Now, that's the way I was programmed. There's some people that programmed where they get up and they're 15 minutes early. I was always late. And what changed my paradigm is I had a friend, and she said to me, I was about 15 minutes late to dinner, and she said, Meredith, you just want to make a grand entrance everywhere you go. You just want to be the star of the show. And I thought, is that really the way I am? Is that really who I really want to be? And so then I started to get to be on time all the time. So you've got to understand these blueprints or these habits or these paradigms are really what controls our behavior. The subconscious mind is 95%, and that's what makes this control our behavior. Our behavior produces our results. So unless you get to the primary cause of results, you're never going to make any permanent change. Does that make sense? So changing a paradigm or a habit or a belief system is illogical. So when we change a paradigm, it's illogical. And repetition is illogical. So to read the same book over and over again is illogical, right? But didn't we, when my son was born and I was teaching him to learn his name, he'd be running along and I'd say, Huey, and he'd just keep running along, right? And as soon as I said, Huey, Huey, so many times, he got the message and he said, well, that must be me. So the moral of this story is Roxy, my dog, I took her back and I took her into training, and she got to be a very good dog, and not only that, but she lost 20 pounds. So if you have a coach and you can make the changes, you can get the results that you want. And I have little things, so if you want a 20-minute consultation on how to change your paradigms, I'll pass these around.